Hello everybody, Razor Blade Mango here, and welcome to my little impressions video of PlayStation's Paris Games Week keynote, conference, media event, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's more PlayStation shit, so obviously I'm going to talk about it. I didn't feel like Tokyo Game Shows was really worth mentioning all that much, because it had a lot of stuff in it that I just didn't really care about and really couldn't talk in depth about. So I decided to forego that in favor of Paris Games Week, and of course I'm going to talk about PSX because I'm fucking going to the thing. But let's start with Paris Games Week for today. So yesterday they released a lot of information for stuff. I'd heard beforehand that Sony was going to go all out for Paris Games Week, that we needed to lower our expectations for PSX because they were just like all the big announcements were going to be here. And you know, unless that proves to be true a couple of months down the road, I didn't get that impression at all from this conference. If anything, I still felt like Sony was holding back a lot of stuff, which that's not a complaint, because what we got I thought was very entertaining and very exciting, but I still think they have some stuff left up their sleeve, and that stuff I think is what we're going to see at PSX. You know, things maybe like Death Stranding, or maybe another Last of Us, maybe another Last of Us Part 2 trailer, maybe some big concrete info on Days Gone, footage from Dreams, that Media Molecule game, or Wild, or stuff like that. So I think there are some surprises left for PSX, so I don't think people should be too worried, but like I always say, just, you know, keep your expectations in check. I don't think PSX this year is going to be better than last year, because last year's was pretty fucking fantastic. So, you're here for Paris Games Week. Let's talk about Paris Games Week. First thing they started out with, right out of the gate, was the long-awaited reveal of Sucker Punch's new IP, which is called Ghost of Tsushima. Or Tsushima? Tsushima. Someone's got to correct me on how to pronounce that. I'm not entirely sure. For like a couple minutes during the thing, I was calling it Ghost of Tsushima, and then I'm like, oh right, the T is silent. So, yay, hooray for me not knowing that. But it was smart of them to keep the reveal that this was Sucker Punch's new IP until the very last minute, which I thought was a nice surprise. And even with that, I kept thinking during the trailer, I was like, this has to be Sucker Punch's new IP, because we don't know the company name, and Sucker Punch is next in line to show off their new thing. And wow, what a new thing it is. And it looks like it was worth the wait to be revealed. And look, as much as I wanted a new Sly Cooper game, and I really, really, really wanted a new Sly Cooper game, this looks very interesting. An open world action stealth game set in feudal Japan, where you play as some badass samurai. Okay, you've got my attention on that. They didn't show any kind of gameplay in this trailer. It was more a tone trailer or a setting trailer, but boy, what a tone, what a setting, with this awesome, like, I think they mentioned things like Yojimbo, and for like influences, which is awesome. Like, if you guys are familiar with, you know, Akira Kurosawa, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, all those samurai movies, I get a very Kurosawa vibe from the trailer. So this should be really cool. Sucker Punch is a good studio. I haven't liked all the games that they've done, but this looks to be a good one. Again, this is another situation where a studio that's known for one thing is given the freedom to go off and do something completely different. And that's part of why I like I greatly prefer PlayStation's line of exclusives. They're like constantly changing setting and tone and whatever they're doing. And I think this trailer just set the tone beautifully, and it really ignited my anticipation for what was to come in the keynote. Moving along to Concrete Genie, which is from the studio Pixel Opus. Now, the last game, and that name sounded familiar when I saw it in the trailer, so I had to look it up. These are the guys that did Entwined, which, to be very blunt, I thought was shit. I did not enjoy that game at all, and I couldn't even finish it. I just got so frustrated with it and so over it. Thankfully, this looks much better. It's got this really cool story about this kid, this like bullied, neglected kid who lives in this abandoned like industrial village, and he finds this magic paintbrush where he's then allowed to create these drawings on like the emptied walls in order to bring this world to life. And I don't know if he lives in this town or if this is just something that he explores, but he gets bullied every so often. You see like these rival kids come up and like beat him up at one point, try to steal his paintbrush. So it's got that, strange little story of like this bullied kid given the tools to escape this ugly reality by creating something magical. I don't know how the painting is going to work. I don't know if you can just, like create anything. Like I doubt the developers are gonna like give you the freedom to like, I don't know, like draw a dick on the wall and then put a smiley face on it, and that's one of the main characters of the game, just this big smiling dick. So I think it's gonna be set drawings for every encounter. I don't think they're gonna give you the big freedom to do whatever you want, but if they do and they can animate it and make it work, then for better or for worse, I think that would be really impressive. So, and I'd prefer that. Set drawings is just not. I'm suck at drawing. So we'll see about this one. I don't have my hopes up about this one as much as, like Ghost of Tsushima or any of the other ones, but I'm always willing to give a studio another chance, even if their first game does not impress me. So I mean, hey, shit, look at Titanfall 2. That's a big example. So moving along to Erica, which is the only one of these like PlayLink games that Sony is like going on about. They had a pre-show before this, and I just didn't really want to talk about that, where they showed a lot of these PlayLink games, and they're just, I don't know, like I like Jackbox a lot. Jackbox is a lot of fun, but that's a party game. The idea of like sitting around with my friends, and maybe it's just my group of friends, maybe it's just like my group of friends just really aren't interested in this kind of like campaign, choose your own adventure kind of stuff as much as I am. So I don't know, maybe this would just get old to them after a while, but I don't know, for me it's just not my thing, not my cup of tea. So, but I like that it's a live action thing. That's neat that they're doing that, I guess. That's Erica. It's some kind of like mystery thing where you do choose your own adventure style. So that's alright. And then we moved on to the VR sizzle reel, which thank Christ they kept this short. Sizzle reels are where VR belongs. Not on a main stage, not in a long ass press conference, just one nice sizzle reel. That's all I want. That's all I give a crap about. Speaking of which, moved on to Blood and Truth, which was a terrible trailer. It already is a mediocre looking VR thing. I actually played the game that the London studio last did, that London Heist, which I thought was meh. And then to see like a full-blown version of it here, it just looked very mediocre. And you have this god-awful rap music kicking in, which completely ruined the atmosphere. It just terrible trailer. Did not like it. So they shifted gears from the exclusive stuff for a while, and they moved on to like third-party partnerships, as Jim Ryan put it. So I don't know, this is kind of like the lightning round of stuff, which they started out with Far Cry 5, looks fun, probably pick it up, that's all I got. Destiny 2 Expansion 1, The Curse of Osiris, this was not a surprise whatsoever. This had leaked like even before Destiny 2 came out, so I've kind of reached this point where I'm just over Destiny 2. Like, I still have it on my PS4, and like I'll play it every so often just to kind of like, just to do something with like a couple of buddies of mine, but I don't know. I'm just not interested in getting the expansion. Not really. I can just watch the shit on YouTube and I'll probably get the same experience, which for all the hype about Destiny 2 having like this vastly improved story, and it's like, we're so interested in creating this amazing story. And it was vastly improved to vanilla Destiny, but still not up to snuff to the early Halos, which, But anyway, I'm just not really interested. Monster Hunter World. Again, I'm not too excited for this one either. I'm more happy for the people that are, because I personally know quite a few that are really, really fucking hyped for this. And cool. Glad for him. I'll be playing Ni no Kuni 2 when this rolls around, so I probably won't have time to play it. But having Horizon Zero Dawn stuff in the PS4 edition is pretty cool. You get like, Aloy's costume. You get I think like your little like buddy companion can dress up like a Watcher, which I think that's cool. That's some neat little PS4 exclusive stuff, which makes sense because it actually has a Sony owned IP in it. Not locking off missions or locking off weapons. Destiny. Anyway, moving on to Call of Duty World War II. Multiplayer. Oh, it's a map exclusive to the fucking Season Pass. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks, dude. I did not like the multiplayer. Onrush are from the Drive Club team. Ugh. Racing games, they just not my thing. Don't interest me. But. Demolitions and explosions do. And if we see some actual gameplay for this and it looks fun, I don't know, I might be inclined to give it a try. I'll keep my eye on it. Looks fun. Right, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Eat a bag of dicks, EA. That's all I've got. Then they moved on, thank God, to the exclusives, which, holy shit, yes. Yes. This is the point that I was looking forward to the most, obviously, with going off of Ghost of Tsushima at the beginning. I was like, bring on the exclusives. Bring on that shit. Spider-Man. Looked good. Good trailer. I still want to see some... Like, we saw gameplay at E3, and this was more of a story trailer, but it would have been nice to see more, actual gameplay or like a live demo or something. What happened to the live demos? Like, they did that 1 year in 2016, and then they kind of just fucked off with that. Like, I want to see more live demos. This is one of the ones that I would have wanted to see one of those for. So, good trailer. Facial animation's a little rough, little rubbery, kind of going to like that weird uncanny valley territory at some points. Like, especially the point when, like, Peter's spider senses are tingling, and he makes this face that looks like the main character, the main male protagonist from Andromeda, so, like, this weird bug-eye kind of look. The facial animation needs some work before it releases. Still no date for it, though. That's... One of the things I was hoping we'd get with this thing was more dates, but we only got a date for, like, one game, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, Spider-Man looks good. Definitely looking forward to it. Insomniac's a good studio, and I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel hero, so this will be cool. Right, Detroit Become Human. Okay. So I'll have to get a little personal with this, so bear with me for a few minutes. The more I see from this game, the more concerned I become. Looking back, I wasn't too crazy on the trailer that they showed last E3 with the riot in the city kind of thing. Especially when I heard that, according to people who played the demo, that there's some kind of like morality meter, which, like really? We're doing that? That's so stupid. Like, why would you put a morality meter in a choose your own adventure? That's completely dissuading you from playing your own style. Why would you do that? That's so stupid. Alright, besides that, David Cage, look, I'm very mixed on a lot of Quantic Dream stuff. I like Indigo Prophecy. I like some parts of Beyond Two Souls. Some of it was I do not like Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain is like so unintentionally funny that I can't get into it. It's just so badly acted, so badly written. It's hilarious, but it's pretty shit in terms of like writing and stuff. But David Cage also has a rather awkward, unfortunate history of handling sensitive subjects with the subtlety of a sledgehammer and the care of like one of the Three Stooges. It's just, he's not good when it comes to, he like really drops the ball a lot when it comes to these like really sensitive, touchy subjects. Case in point, there's like he loves his shower scenes. He loves his sex scenes. There's like 3 or 4 points in Beyond Two Souls where Ellen Page's character is like sexually assaulted or borderline sexually assaulted, and the fact that he has to kind of like repeat that over and over again for emotion is just kind of it's like a really lazy writer's tool. And I got that feeling from the last trailer as well, because even though David Cage went on about how, I want to take out certain scenes. Why? I don't know what accent I'm going for, but my French accent, right? I want to take out. I can't do a French accent to save my life, so I'll just stick with my normal voice. He wanted to do this thing where he said like, I thought about certain scenes that would be sensitive in the current political climate, so I'm just gonna take them out. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's not very ballsy, but whatever, okay. And then he talks about how this game is like his slavery allegory, or at least that's the impression I got from the trailer, which the trailer definitely looked like a slavery allegory on the last one, which, come on. And don't throw that goddamn fucking SGW shit at me. It's like, no, that's what the story is. It's a slavery allegory. Whether David Cage intends to do it or not, that's the fucking subtext of it, that it's slavery. So then he wants to bring in child abuse in this latest trailer, which child abuse is something I take incredibly seriously because I went through that as a kid as well. Not like horribly, but I definitely had that on my dad's side. That unfortunate experience. So to see Detroit do that in such a manner that was like really cliche and just badly acted and written and just so uncomfortable, it sounded like some serious alarm bells in my head. Particularly the moment where the dad, freaks out. He's like, your mother left me for this, and he just like, and I guess he can like beat the child to death, or like to an unconscious state at a point. I guess and then like the daughter can kill the dad or something. It's like it's like he's going like full on like cartoonish, cliche, unsympathetic, like this very like cut, like this very black and white good guys bad guys thing, which it's never that simple in real life. Never is that simple. So it's just I don't get a good vibe from this trailer. And what shocked me is like a lot of people were just like, oh, this trailer made me tear up, this trailer gave me some serious chills. It made me thoroughly uncomfortable and concerned. And one of the last people in the game industry I trust with handling sensitive subjects like this is David fucking Cage. So I don't see how this could be not a really rough ride for me. I don't know. We'll see. I'll still definitely try it because, you know, it's Quantic Dream and Sony exclusive, yada yada yada. But I don't know. I really don't know about Detroit. Still no release date. What the fuck? This is Paris Games Week. This is when they revealed the fucking game. Show a goddamn release date already, guys. Come on. Like spring 2018 is not gonna fucking cut it. Okay? Alright, they moved on to God of War. Not a lot to talk about here. The trailer was very small. Nowhere near the 5-minute epic spectacular that we got at E3, but it was cool. Cool little slice of what's to come with God of War. Combat looks good. I hope they tone down the kid talking a little bit, because I guess this is a point in the relationship where the kid is more comfortable being around Kratos, because I get that vibe from the very first demo that when they initially start, the kid's kind of really like shy and scared and nervous around his dad, but I guess this is the point in the game where they are more comfortable around one another. So that's cool. That's nice to see if there is some, you know, Last of Us-ish, you know, AI thing where the character will be more comfortable being around the playable character. That's cool. Combat's cool. Creatures look cool. I'm excited to see what that like banshee siren thing that they teased at the end is going to be like. I wonder if that's like a sub-boss or a boss or something. I want to see a boss battle in this game. I think that is long overdue. And if they show anything from God of War at PSX, it has to be a boss battle. Has to be a fight where they full on show what bosses are like. Because they said that they are not going to scale back on the epic nature of, you know, the big, gigantic set pieces with the bosses. I want to see one of them. So, that's my hope for PSX. Next up, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Frozen Wilds. Looks cool. Next week. Cool. Super excited. Alright. Moving on to the final game that was the only one out of the PlayStation exclusives that got a solid release date after the show. They didn't show it in the fucking trailer, but, you know, whatever. At least we have a date for it. Shadow of the Colossus comes out February 6th, which, nice. February 6th, 2018. Cool. That's like a month after Ni no Kuni 2 comes out. I will make time to play it. So, because this game looks fucking gorgeous. It's a little sad that the original distinctive iconic art style, where it's like super contrasted and bright and bleak, has been completely removed. Like that washed out look to it, which was very iconic and, you know, very distinctive look for a game like that. But I can't complain when I'm constantly going, wow, during the footage for it. Like it looked so good that it tricked me for a moment that what we were seeing was original content. Like I didn't recognize it. The foresty area that they showed at the beginning of that trailer, and I'm talking about the trailer shown during the conference, not the completely remade 4-minute intro sequence that they put up on the PlayStation channel afterwards. If anything, I felt like that should have been the trailer. Just show the iconic beginning of the game with that beautiful music, and that would have sold me 100%. Didn't even need to show the Colossi. Didn't even need to show combat. But yeah, February 6th. I'm really looking forward to this. I want to find out what the alternate play style is like, the alternate controls that they talked about at E3. I'm hoping there are some hands-on impressions of it so I can kind of like skim through those and see what it's like. But I'm looking forward to it greatly. It looks really fucking good. And then Shadow of the Colossus is a great game. Despite, having not aged well, it being a product of its time, I still find it a harrowing game, and one of the greatest tragedies, maybe the greatest tragedy in video gaming history. Like, it is a tragic story, which makes it all the more emotionally impactful. Finally, and they did save one of the best ones for last, The Last of Us Part 2. The highlight of the event for many people. I disagree. I think Ghost of Tsushima was the best thing for me just because it was a surprise. But I can't blame people for thinking this was the highlight of the trailer, highlight of the event, because it was a killer fucking trailer. We didn't see Joel. We didn't see Ellie. All we got was a glimpse of new characters, and holy fuck was this trailer graphic. That's not a big surprise considering, that it's The Last of Us. The Last of Us is fucking brutal. It's a fucking brutal world and a fucking brutal game. So that, and then this trailer comes out, and they already mentioned at PSX that it's going to be much darker. It's going to be centered around hatred instead of like love from the first game. So the main theme is hatred, and it's going to be a lot darker. And I like sitting there listening to Neil Druckmann talk about this. I was like, how the fuck is this second one can be darker than that? I can definitely see it now. Not only just with the setting and the lighting, with like this really graphic imagery of like the bodies being hung by their neck with like their intestines cut open. There's that point where they, like, the guy gets like an arrow shot through the face. There's a woman that gets like a fucking axe shoved into her skull with like bloody results, obviously. There's like torture. The worst part for me like was when they like incapacitate that one woman. They like take that hammer and they just start bashing her arm with it, and I was just like, fuck, like, oh my god. Like, they flip her around and they're like, oh, clip her wings, and then they just bam, like the way just the hammer, like the feeling and the noise that comes out of it with the bone breaking, just, I'm desensitized to a lot of gaming violence, but like that made me wince, and I just kept going, Jesus Christ, during that trailer. Like, it was fucking brutal, fucking sadistic. So it was just this little micro story, which that was what made it so interesting, is that I wasn't even sure that this was The Last of Us, because we didn't see Joel, we didn't see Ellie, and it wasn't until they started like the hammer part is when I was like, okay, this is definitely Last of Us. This brutality is something I can definitely see in it. And sure enough, when you get that brief glimpse of the clickers at the end, I was like, okay, that's Last of Us. Cool. Finally have seen more of Last of Us. And of course, Naughty Dog is being very cagey with the details. There's a very popular theory going around that the woman that we saw in the trailer that wasn't named, the one being tortured, was Anna, who is Ellie's mother. So it's heavily implied that she's pregnant. By the way, like, the knife is like, that's another part that made me cringe. Like, when the knife is put to her stomach and you see like a little trickle of blood, and you see like the muscles in her stomach like contort and like with discomfort to match like her breathing. It's like so impressive special effects, which made me so uncomfortable. And that would be really cool if we got to play as Ellie's mom in flashbacks, because she looked like Ellie. there was like the initial theory that that was Ellie and flash forwards, but Neil Druckmann was like, no, 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 this is a completely new character. The main character of the story is 19-year-old Ellie. So there are going to be situations, I bet, where we do get flashbacks to Anna, where we play as Ellie's mom while she's pregnant with Ellie. So that would be exciting. That would be, like, that is one of the big mysteries of the Last of Us world. You know, the relationship with Ellie's mom. What was she like? And it looks like if my assumptions are correct, this is going to be about Ellie's mom, a big part of that. Maybe going after the people that killed her, a revenge story. That would make sense. That'd be worthy of a like a road trip style game. That's The Last of Us. That makes a lot of sense. They closed the show with that. 45-minute show. The pre-show was longer than the actual show. So yeah, that was that. And like I said, I'd heard prior that Sony was going to go all out and that we weren't going to get anything cool for PSX. And thank God I did not get that impression from this thing whatsoever. We didn't see the likes of Death Stranding, Days Gone, Dreams, which Dreams I hope is not in trouble because Media Molecule needs a good game at this point. Wild, I hope that's not in trouble because that's one of the ones I'm really looking forward to. It has one of the more interesting concepts. It's that shaman one that they showed like 2 years ago at Paris Games Week. That's the weird thing. I totally expected Dreams to be there. I totally expected Wild to be there. Both European studios. And they weren't there. You know, Michel Ancel, French, big icon, not there. So something tells me that those two projects are in trouble. But I hope we see more at PSX from them. Otherwise, if we don't see anything from Wild or Dreams, I'm going to be very concerned. And I don't believe Michel Ancel whenever he says something anymore. So he's not, he makes good games, but he's not a trustworthy figurehead. But yeah, very good presentation throughout. Sony have really gotten the pacing of this stuff down to a T. And to me, this was just, like they said, E3 was half the story. This was the exact same pace that they went with E3. Just a little bit of talking here and there. Lots of good stuff delivered at a rapid fire pace. Sony's got this pacing down to a fucking T. Where they just go in, get out, show, don't tell. That's great. I love that approach. And I'm sure there are people that are still disappointed with this, that still, are like, oh, where was this? Where was that? Well, the people that unrealistically wanted The Last of Us Part 2 at E3, this year, here you go. Here's The Last of Us Part 2. Stop complaining. Because we got a bunch of good shit. We got The Last of Us Part 2, we got Shadow of the Colossus, we got God of War, we got Detroit, we got Spider-Man, we got Concrete Genie, we got Horizon the Frozen Wilds, and we got fucking Ghost of Tsushima. We got Sucker Punch. There you go. What studio is next? I don't know. We'll find out in, I don't know, like a year from now who the next people are like, oh, we want this studio, we want this studio. It used to be Bend, then it was Sucker Punch. I don't know what's next. I don't know who's next because they've got a strong garden. Like, to me, whenever I look at the exclusives landscape from like Xbox and PlayStation, whenever I look at Xbox, I see like a barren garden with like some small plants being, distributed here and there, but made with set up with these like ludicrous wild expectations because they don't have a solid garden to look at. And then I go over to Sony and they're just like wild plants everywhere, lush, beautiful scenery, and it's just this fruitful garden that they've tended to wisely all these years, and finally the fruit is starting to bear for them. And they've got like multiple stages of stuff. They've got like, you know, stuff coming out this year that was excellent. They got 2018 looks packed with great looking exclusives. 2019 we get like Death Stranding or Ghost of Tsushima. Like they're already planning the big stuff in advance. They've got this. They've got their shit together. They've got their eggs in their baskets. But I don't know where they can go from here. Do you remember that time that Xbox, you know, was talking about how like, oh, this is the greatest lineup in Xbox history? Well, I feel like that applies to here. Because in my years of, you know, being a PlayStation fan, talking about PlayStation fan, I have never seen a lineup, a consistent lineup from Sony so strong over the last couple of years. Like 2015 on, they've just been on a fucking roll. Just insane roll. And it's not just like one or two big exclusives. It's like 3, 4, 5, 6 big ones. That's impressive. And despite what I may think about some of them, it is impressive that they are creating this large variety of stuff. It's like, oh, you don't like God of War? Oh, well, here you go. Here's Dreams. Oh, you don't give a shit about Dreams? Oh, here's a Samurai Epic. Oh, you don't give a shit about Samurai Epic? Here's a remake of Shadow of the Colossus, one of the greatest games ever. Oh, you don't give a fuck about that? Here's Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh, you don't care about that? Here's Until Dawn, a horror game. Like, they've got a large variety of stuff. That's awesome. That's great. Keep it going, guys. And I'm excited as fuck to see what is going to be at PSX. Still, keep my expectations in check, but oh yeah, PSX hopefully will be very interesting. I'm hoping for some Shenmue 3. I'm hoping for some Final Fantasy 7 remake. Get Final Fantasy 7 remake done, guys. Come on. Show that. Show Kingdom Hearts 3. Show Death Stranding. Show Days Gone. Show Wild. Show Dreams. I'll be a fucking happy camper. That's all you gotta do. If I were to give this any kind of final grade, solid B. Like I said, if I had any like big complaints about it, is that I wish they had just cut out the VR stuff, cut out the PlayLink stuff, because that's what I think the pre-show should have just been all about, just the shit that I don't want to see in these conferences. So that's that. And oh god, and some of the third-party stuff, like, do we really need a trailer for Call of Duty? Do we really need a trailer for Battlefront 2 at this point? Like, I understand Onrush, I understand Monster Hunter, I understand Destiny 2, I even understand Far Cry to a certain extent, but it's like, really? COD is like less than a week away. We did not need that few minutes of COD. Alright, we did not need that. So, yeah, final grade, solid B. I really, really liked this. And here's hoping that they keep the pace with PSX, because last year's PSX was incredible. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about Paris Games Week, PlayStation stuff, and what you thought of the conference, and what are your most anticipated games from Sony's lineup of exclusives. There's a lot. Alrighty. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Take care, everyone.